just consider something, okay, for a moment, right? If in fact you are talking about someone highly, you're speaking of them highly, and you're saying that they taught you culture, they taught you Islam, you're saying all these things about them, and you do not even mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a problem.
Yes.
If they taught you Islam, and you cannot mention Allah, you cannot clearly state that it was Allah who saved us. Allah brought us to where we are. Allah created us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sustained us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that we have to be accountable to. You cannot stay in that lane. You must go out to, just listen to what the brother said. You heard it. We rewinded it. The four of them are talking about who Sheikh Jilani is to American Muslim. The four of them. And you heard this man say that Allah blessed us and Sheikh Jilani taught us. So that is a shirky statement. You associated with Allah. You could have said Allah Ta'ala blessed us through, you understand? You could have put the word through. But when you say Allah blessed us and, then that's, you've definitely,
Or you could have said blessed us and blessed the sheikh.
Right.
With the knowledge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But he can't, that's a problem. And then you mean to tell me that because of the fact that your forefathers or, your father went over to Pakistan and studied, that was like a great experience for you who did not go because of the fact that you learned. I'm sorry, what did you learn? He didn't even, he was supposed to be saying, I think what he was trying to make the connection to is how much he gained from his father by studying over in Pakistan, right? But to be fair, what he was saying when he came back is practically how he just had so much more affection for Sheikh Jilani.
Yeah.
If you're studying Islam, you're studying Islam for Allah. Whomsoever Allah loves, He increases them in deen. He increases them in knowledge of Him. That's the saying. That's pure. That's authentic. But you went and studied Islam, or your father went to study Islam to have more love for Sheikh Jilani. There's an issue. There's a problem with that. And then there's another problem, you believing that he instituted Hijrah. That's the most ridiculous belief that I'm not sure if it's, I don't know what's more ridiculous about it, because when you stop to think about it, you should know better. The Prophet ﷺ instituted Hijrah 1400 years ago. Muslims all over the world perform Hijrah, whether you accept it or realize it or not. You understand what I'm saying? There is no way on earth, and I was alive back then, there is no way on earth, and those with me, who traveled with me, there's no way you're going to tell me that this man brought to you something that you had no knowledge of.
That's right.
That's kind of, that's almost, that is criticizing beyond, that's below the belt. That's way below the belt. You know what I'm saying? It's bad enough you said that these people did not know what it was to be human beings, so you had to teach them how to be human beings. And of course, that's terrible. But now you're saying that they had no concept of the life back then, although they were Muslim, although Darul Islam movement was there, although they had books and they had, an imam, they had imams all over the country. You mean to tell me that none of them knew about what the concept of Hijrah was?
Ain't that so?
But it's good that some have said that these are lies. It's not true that we did not know Quran. It's not true that we were praying in English. Some, but most have not. Most of them actually believe that they were saved all right, because their parents followed Sheikh Jilani, and that's what they're trying to sell, right? But the problem again, you made hijrah from New York to California to establish a land so that the land could thrive, so that you can have, all these, freedoms on your own land and all this so that your children, and now we see your generations later on. I am very sorry to disappoint you, but the California land is lost. It's been lost for so many years. So the hijrah that you all claim to be making, you actually made it, and it clarified itself. Allah Ta'ala clarified it for you that it was a false destination. You went all the way to California. He lost the land there. And by the way, a lot of people think that he bought land with his own money and were like, you all go live over there. But the problem is that he actually, I spoke to enough people to know that when he came to take over the movement, he took the money too. He took the money lines. In other words, people who were getting money from the Rabita, we know about Rabita, people don't know that, we know. But yeah, people used to get money from Rabita before he came. So when he did come and was encouraging them to follow him, he would still encourage them to actually go to the Rabita and get money and get more money. This is the money that he really used along with the money he was taking. No, to buy these lands. He didn't buy these lands with his own money, as people believe. But anyway, so you go to California, you lose California. You say you're building and establishing lands, but another land in Colorado, you also lost because of the lawsuits. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So is this what hijrah is supposed to look like? Like, you're supposed to go to a land that you cannot keep, that you cannot maintain. I mean, it clearly became a loss. You didn't keep it. Are you claiming that you're supposed to be making hijrah to break laws that is going to cause you to even lose the land again? Because that's what you did in Colorado, right? And everybody on that show, there's not a single person who is going to be able, or who was able, because it was, they're the ones who came on trying to tell us who Sheikh Jilani is. But unfortunately, they really did make mockery of themselves. I mean, how are you going to justify the fact that the civil rights movement, because they brought up the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, okay, they didn't have Islam, but a lot of policies that we're enjoying today is because of the civil rights movement, okay?
Right.
You want to compare Malcolm X to Sheikh Jilani under the circumstances? Malcolm X did not write a single book. I'll tell you, Malcolm X did not even write his own autobiography that was written by Alex Haley. But his reputation today continues to rise in the entire world. Muslims and the non-Muslims alike are picking up that man's autobiography to understand what he really was talking about, because his predictions actually came true. His predictions came true. Specifically when he said, black president by the year 2000, he wasn't very far off, 8 years later. Right? I can't say that. I mean, I dare anybody to say that about Sheikh Jilani. I mean, you shouldn't even, these are things like you're actually, in your process of showing how mighty Sheikh Jilani was, how great he was, you have to bring it up a notch over the civil rights movement, over Malcolm X, over Nation of Islam. Okay, Nation of Islam, yes. They don't have the best understanding or practice of Islam. We all agree. But I assure you, Nation of Islam brought a whole lot more people out of substance abuse than you did. Nation of Islam brought a whole lot more people out of the streets than you did. That much, I mean, just make your own data together. Put your own data together. You want to talk about hijrah? How about the sisters who came forward and said that they were abused on those lands, the Colorado land? They were abused over there in Seattle. Don't forget the Seattle land. So you want to talk, you know what I mean? Like, bring everything forward. Bring everything together. And this guy tells me, or the one of them says, when he was around, like our fathers were real strict. But when he was around, there was none of that. There was no disciplinary. He would give us candy. He would even put it in our mouths. And I'm like, okay, so that explains it too. When he was putting candy in your mouth, he really did buy your heart. He really did steal your heart, your soul at that time. Is that a possibility? Is it a possibility that, you really, especially like the sister's testimony. Sister's testimony was like, because he was asking her, what about Sheikh Jilani? When did you really come to really, appreciate Sheikh Jilani or whatever? And, she has to give a testimony of him marrying her to a husband, and still she can't answer when did that love or when did that, tie to Sheikh Jilani come. She has to go all the way to Pakistan for that to happen. All the way to Pakistan before she starts really, and she claims it was a love affair. Uh-oh. Everybody loved him and he loved all of us. It's a love affair. Okay. That's how you, and because, and according to her, it was a love affair. He always made sure that the sisters had whatever it is that they needed, and, they ate, and he spoiled them, this, that, and the other. Okay, I get it. That's why you fell so much in love. So any man who does that, you'll fall in love with him. That's also a possibility. It's also about any man who does that. Where is the fact of Islam here? Like, what of Islam says that is what justifies and substantiates that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent this man? Mm-hmm. You see the problem?
Yep.
But there's something else. You have to go all the way to Pakistan to stay at this man's house, to know who this man is, or to be frequenting or whatever. You have to do all of that to get to know him and attach yourself to him. How about all the children today who have not done that?
That's right.
You think, you believe that they are also to travel to Pakistan and sit with him and have the same exact experience that you had with him in order to justify why they would still follow him. You know what? I got an idea. We should go back 40. Well, we don't have to go back 40. We just need to go back 5. If we can go back 5 years and get it all done, then yeah, that could be possible. But Allah took him back. Allah, it's impossible. What we have left of him is on video, and we're saying that what it is on video is the best that you have of him. What it is that's inside the books that he has, professed to, that his name is on, what you all are saying, like, this is the best that you have. But right now, obviously, it's not sufficient. None of it is worth anything. You can't substantiate it. You can't justify it. You got to let it go. You have to let it, you have to renounce the fact that, where's the proof? Okay, you can't say that he actually introduced Hijrah. You can't say that his Hijrahs were successful. You really can't claim that his jihads to Afghanistan were successful, or the ones in Canada, or the ones in the United States. You actually want to detach the concept of jihad away from him at this time. That's how much it did in the jihad arena. You can't really fall too well on the Sufi Qadriya path because unproven, unbased, and if the silsila was not authentic, then you can't be authenticated by it either, right? Which is a problem. You can't say who his sheikh was, who gave him that authority. You're going to say that Allah gave it to him, but he couldn't recite Quran. He could not speak Quran, so he could not be using the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. He could not have had that authority either. So now you're going to try and take it back. Oh, he got us. He saved everybody's life. Listen to that. He saved us, our children, our grandchildren, by bringing us out of the cities. How many of TMOA members still live in the cities today? You have more members living in the cities than you even have living on those lands. It's ridiculous. Like, these should never be used as means to try and justify anything, particularly falsehood. Falsehood is a very serious thing. And you're trying to defend it with what? He helped us get out of the cities, but you still are in the city.
And don't forget about the tea and the food.
Yes, the tea. He taught us how to make tea. What kind of message? Astaghfirullah. What kind of, he taught us how to make tea and how to, how to live. He taught us how to eat. And you're weighing like, again, you could have said like, my weight, you all think my weight is really bad now. You should have seen him then. We would have all laughed about it. But you're speaking very seriously about how this man taught you how to eat. And you are weighing a good, I don't even know how much you, but it's just, again, falsehood. You're trying to substantiate falsehood, So that's where that's a problem. Everything you say is going to be false. Even if there's okay, so you said a big sentence and all of it is true, but there's a little false there, the whole sentence is now false.
That's right.
People, that's, logic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with the knowledge of the Quran.
Yes.
To be simple, to be able to find things simply. You could not simply find that this man was using magic. You could not find that this man was using psychological abilities and capacities to keep you without mind accreditation, without mind capacity beyond what it is that he wanted you to. You could not, that none of that could be substantiated or founded by you. And until today, you want to encourage our children and their children to follow that. It's uncalled for. They have to renounce the entire thing since they cannot substantiate it. The corridor, is open. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most merciful, but they all have to submit to the truth, and they have to refute the falsehood that they've been living in. It's ridiculous. Alhamdulillah, for those of us who know, the truth and are holding firm to it, and hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, inshallah, they don't have, they could not substantiate the Sultani claim. They're not trying to do that. They're not trying to substantiate, the fact that he was Ahlul Bayt, that he was of the Prophet ﷺ lineage. They're not trying to do that anymore.
No.
Okay? What all they're trying to do is to say that he has taught us so well that we're doing so well. The reason why we're doing so well is because he taught us so well. Well, we're going to have to go through the entire, and even until today, people saying and clarifying that your leadership, your administrator, the leader of